Good morning, everybody. Sorry. Drink a little bit of my tea, but it's a little bit too hot. So, whole idea of this channel, new channel, is if you are beginning nursing school soon, or you watch this later and you're starting in spring, wherever you are, my hope is to be able to provide you with a channel that you can watch where you're almost getting to study with your best friend. And with school starting in a little under a month, I wanted to start off by doing all the prep and preparation to show how you can be ready, how you can be prepared, how you can feel totally at peace when it comes to that first day of class. Which, of course, probably won't be the case. Even just walking into class will probably be flooded with nerves. But today we can get started on the 5th of August, when school starts on the 24th, we can get started now studying, prepping, getting all of the first classes information down now. I'm also going to be taking one of my general education courses that is required for this semester through CLEP, which makes it a lot cheaper. Because if you take CLEP through the Modern States website, look up Modern States, really amazing. I'll leave a link below. They provide a freshman year for free, basically, through CLEP. Anyway, if I take it through completing a Modern States course, I won't have to pay for that CLEP test. I won't have to pay for that course at school. So that cuts off at least one class's cost. So being able to prep and practice not only for that CLEP, to get that class done, but also to be able to take all of the classes that I see I'm signed up for. We're going to look them up on YouTube. We're going to look them up on Quizlet. I've heard really good things about Anki. I've never used it before for my studying, but we'll do that too. And then just overall, plug it into an AI and ask for the best free studying resources. So let's get to it. I've got about 7 minutes before I have to make a phone call and then probably have to leave. But we'll see how much we can get done in that time. First, I'm going to start off by marking my dates for school. So getting this, I just got this planner a couple days ago, but it's nice and big. It's a nice size to be able to write down all of class dates and any stuff like that. Dates I'm able to see, I've got around 4 days of class. It will be 5 once it hits the kind of second round, end of October. But for right now, I only have 4, so I'm just gonna go ahead and write those in. So I didn't fill in all of the dates because I'm really short on time, but this at least gives me for the last week what it's gonna look like. And then I'll make this phone call, and then based on that, whether or not I'll either run, because I gotta get more paperwork done for nursing school, which is a tip. If you guys have orientation, try your hardest not to miss it and wait for the rescheduled one. Not only because sometimes they don't even provide one that you can take if you can't miss. Well, usually they at least provide one, but forbid if you miss 2 of them, including the makeup one. Because once you take those second ones or the third orientation, then you're getting farther and farther closer to the due dates, giving you less and less time to fill out any of the information, like the background check, the drug test, all of your health forms, vaccinations, immunizations, goodness gracious, your physical, your TB test, yeah, and including like grabbing what you need, like your scrubs, the shoes that they want you to wear. If you need an appropriate device and you need to purchase that, just try your hardest to be able to get that to that annotation, which I did not, and that's why I'm kind of rushing. Is because I'm kind of behind, but thankfully somehow the system itself is behind, so our due date has moved, which is very nice, because I was helping out at a camp all summer and I was not able to come till the second makeup orientation. So, yikes. Not great, but at least it worked. I'm not sure if I recorded or not. I don't think I did, but got all my paperwork done that I needed. At least the ability that I can. And then also paid for the full semester. So now just stopping by Goodwill, seeing if I can find some hunter green curtains or like a oversized fabric, and then seeing if I can find some black curtains to make our scrubs for the year, which is hunter green tops and black scrub bottoms. So see how that goes. Hopefully find some goodies. Well, good morning, everybody. I don't know if I'm fighting something, but I fell asleep for about 4 hours. I did have a garden cleaning cancel, so at least I didn't have anything planned. But now I need to study the rest of the evening. But yeah, hopefully I'm not getting sick. Anyway. Hello again, guys. It's a bit later, my hair's a bit crazier, and finally started to kind of figure out a lot of the paperwork, but it is kind of a mess. Anyway, I looked up more on how to be able to study these courses before class begins. It's about 17-18 days before class begins. And there's classes NSGA 140, 142, 143, and then also a math course that is going to be the requirement for this semester. So I was kind of looking it up based on the school I'm going to. Generally, what it's going to look like for 140, of course, this is going to depend on your school too. It's going to be most likely different for each school. But generally, 140 is clinical judgment models, like nursing process and prioritization of patients. So if you've ever worked in the hospital or had a job as a CNA or tech or anything, some of these beginning classes might look pretty reflective of your job. It will just be more formally put in a class. The second one is going to be more focusing on the growth development theory. So like Erik Erikson, Piaget, I forget how to pronounce his name, Piaget, but also Maslow's hierarchy of needs, similar to if you have taken psychology or sociology, you'll recognize some of those names. And then your physical. I ran out of my storage on my phone, so I had to delete some videos and come back. Anyway, I believe we were talking about the growth and development as being part of 142 and 143, and then also getting your physical assessment skills. So that's going to be not only like getting your vital signs, getting your blood pressures, getting those lung sounds, getting that your pulse, your SpO2, meaning your oxygen level on your patients, but also being able to assess them head to toe. This is something that we did in EMT class, is you had to do the trauma assessment and being able to look all over, assess for any bruises, any broken bones, any hematomas, which is basically a bruise, just can be big or small. Sometimes they can be massive. And just knowing what the different names for those are, like lacerations versus hematomas. Like knowing that difference, laceration is cut into the skin, hematoma is under the skin. It's not open wound. Being able to know that, and we'll say some information or places you can look that up and be able to find out how to pre-study for those courses. But then also, if you're taking a math course as part of your first semester in nursing school, you'll just need to know, you can take it through CLEP, through college algebra. I believe they have college mathematics, but I did ask, and she said, at least for the school that I'm going to, it's not a high enough level to be able to take instead of the course that they provide. But just if you want to study any college level algebra, work up from in high school, like restudy that algebra 1, algebra 2, everything that you kind of were studying in high school, just kind of go over it again to make sure that you're ready and prepped for your class. Let's start off though with some resources that you can use to help study. I did look these up on Claude, and before I did look up on YouTube, and I saw there was a lot from, let me see if I still have it open. YouTuber Charlotte Toombs, TOOMBS. She has it written out like NSGA 140. And of course it's not all of her lectures, but she's got a good amount of videos. I think 31 videos on just the first couple nursing courses, including I see something that she has Maslow's hierarchy of needs, clinical reasoning, intro to ATI, which is something that your school might be adding in, is the same place where you took your T's as your prerequisite. It's being added into your course. And then there's also somebody made a playlist, Carla, goodness gracious, I can't speak, titled NSGA 142 Exam 1, and it's a bunch of videos from Level Up RN, just organized to be able to help study for that exam. That's a resource on YouTube. There's also Registered Nurse RN. I studied for her stuff even for EMT school, just because how good she was at teaching the physical assessment, getting those vital signs. So if you are very new to being able to just starting nursing all the way up to getting into more of those clinical skills, Registered Nurse RN is really good. Same with Level Up RN. There's also, I did try Nurse Cheong. I apologize, I probably butchered that. Her last name is CHUEUNG. But she taught a lot of this T's stuff. She also has some nurse resources in her channel, I believe, if it will load. Yeah, but there's generally not a ton, but there's a decent amount of resources to begin. Of course, I wouldn't get stuck down that rabbit hole of looking at first day in nursing school routine, just because a lot of that can be just watching and passive learning instead of actually learning those terms. She has some 2025 BLS review, 10 things I wish I knew before starting nursing school. She's got a good amount of stuff separate from T's, and this is Nurse CHEUNG, just so I don't butcher it again, I apologize. And again, these resources are on YouTube. It's completely free. There is another resource I found on Spotify, and I believe she has her podcast on YouTube too. Her name is Nursing School, or is Nurse Melanie, and her podcast is Nursing School Week by Week. Great for getting just that fear of, I have no idea what I'm heading into, out of the way. So I'd recommend binge listening to all of her podcasts. They are really helpful. She does have, I believe, she has a lot of them. It looks like it could be probably close to almost 100 podcasts. I could be underestimating. Maybe 60, probably 60. She's got a lot, and she's got a lot of good information, so I'd recommend that. If you are looking into just basic theories or assessment pieces that you can just look up on YouTube or look up on Safari for reading material or watching material, you can look up developmental theory, Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development, and the guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Piaget, Stages of Cognitive Development. There's Quizlets on that I use for like psychology that were really good. You can make your own after watching YouTube, and there's crash course videos on it. It's nice and memorization heavier, so Anki Quizlet helps a lot of the time rather than just passively reading it. And then also you can look up videos on vital signs and normal ranges by age groups. So preemie to newborn to toddler, kid, adult, or young adult, elderly, like the full range of vitals for different people: infant, child, adult, older adult. For heart rate, respiratory rate, blood pressure, temperature, etc. And then you can also look up on YouTube or on Safari head-to-toe physical assessments, like Registered Nurse RN has some good stuff, Level Up RN. A lot of this will just help you be prepared for any of your class. Just to have a preface of what am I going to be studying, and I have no idea what I'm going into. And then also health promotion across the lifespan. So the age-appropriate screenings, immunizations, when those are supposed to be done from kids to adults, and any developmental milestones like puberty or menopause, anything like that. Just being able to know that and how that is affected, during age. When your body goes through life, it goes through many, many stages. So knowing that information already ahead of time, you're going to be able to not only know what those stages are, but also be able to know what medications or what, goodness gracious, what your next assessment should be. So say it's a tiny infant, most likely you're not going to be seeing high blood pressure problems. Most likely. There's always can be cases. And then for older adults, you're most likely not going to see a normal resting heart rate of the 120s as in an infant. You would see that. So just being able to know those differences and know how those change throughout life is really good to set yourself up for success. Studying math, if you need help, like I myself am extremely rough on math. So going to Khan Academy for Algebra 1 and 2. Professor Leonard on YouTube is one of the best math teachers I've ever found. He has many, many playlists, but one of the best I have found was his To The Point math playlist. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely would recommend that. Just if you are struggling with math and you're like, I know that's going to be rough heading into school, prepping by doing 45 minutes to an hour a day of just getting those bite-sized math sessions in really help you. And last, just make sure that you are kind of nearing the end of your prep before school starts, mixing it all in together to make sure you haven't missed any areas. Like say you might have put all your focus on 140, not much on 142, 143, just because maybe you thought it was super interesting, like I myself have done with topics, and forgotten about the other ones, or just because you kind of lost track. Just make sure if you are nervous about those, which you might feel confident because you've worked in healthcare for a while, but if you just feel nervous about those, make sure that's included in the last bit of time you have to pre-study. Don't forget about Quizlet and Anki. Just prepping, making your own flashcards about all these topics you are studying helps that you're learning actively and not passively like reading. And as soon as your syllabus comes out, as soon as you have access to your textbooks, to what you're going to be studying when your clinicals are starting, what your clinicals are being about, just take note of that and study as much as you can those resources. Please don't overtake your notes on this though, just because a lot of the time you can just be copying word for word what you're reading and you're basically just writing another book and not really intaking that information. Sometimes, like myself, writing something down just helps getting it in my head. Even if I'm writing over the same words and it's a complete mess, completely not understandable if you read it, but just physically writing it down somehow collects that information to not go one ear, out the other. It helps kind of solidify. I'm not quite sure why. But yeah, check for those resources when they're going to come out. If you know what your textbook is, see if there's like any resources that maybe your friends have gone to the same school, or your family has been to that school and they still have those textbooks. If they did, unless they had to return them, check out those. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is my first time moving into this, so this is just outside information that I've collected and nothing that I've actually experienced myself other than for my prerequisites or any other college classes that I've taken. So please look at my advice that way, as somebody who's just seeing this or hearing this and trying to show you, not as somebody who's experienced yet in this, because I haven't started nursing school myself yet. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. At least this will be the first video. The rest should be more interactive and just kind of study sessions, or maybe just I'm hoping to show my study routine until school starts. And then once school starts, just filling in all those gaps of what school looks like and how to better prepare for it. Sorry, my phone ran out of storage again. What I was talking about last is whether or not you are prepping for nursing school, when these videos are starting to come out, hopefully on what nursing school is, or whether or not you're in nursing school itself. Just try your best to be prepared, have a clear schedule, plan everything out so you aren't missing those deadlines. Get that paperwork, the payment done far before the deadlines, just so you have that confidence and just peace of mind once you start. Because honestly, I did not do that. At least for the orientation, I wasn't able to do it. The paperwork was delayed and there's been messes, and it's just been extremely stressful and really kind of taking away the excitement of nursing school. So I hope you're able to see this and just be like as fast as you can. Just be able to get those kind of out of the way stuff done and be prepped for nursing school by studying before, not being terrified when you walk in the room for the first time. Anyway, I hope this helped in any way. This video is going to be messy, sloppy, but we'll just get this first one out and start working towards the other ones. Thanks, guys.